So there's a lot of videos out there that talk about why you should invest in real estate, the pros and cons of it. You know, you got the one side saying it's risky, you shouldn't. That's not what this video is going to be about. This video is going to be about what your first steps should be. A lot of people are convinced to invest in real estate. They say, yeah, it sounds like a great idea. Sounds like something we should do. What's our first step? The first step, believe it or not, is looking to your own primary residence. So most people, especially in Ontario here, have equity in their home. So there's 3 ways that you can access that equity. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the pros and cons of different ways to access that equity. The first thing you should know is that, if you've lived in your home for more than 3 years, you have equity in your home. The market has gone up substantially and there is equity that you can access. Now, how much you can access, the terms, the interest rates, things like that, that's what we're going to get into in this video. Number 1 is just a remortgage. So if your mortgage is up for renewal, meaning that typically people are in a 5-year fixed rate and that term is about to come up. So you're in year 4, you're saying, okay, their bank is starting to send me offers. Hold up on that before just simply accepting an offer or taking, the next interest rate. Talk to a mortgage broker or talk to a lender and see if there's a way to increase that amount. I.e., let's say you have $1 million home, right? You believe your home is worth $1 million. 3 years ago, you bought it for, let's say $500,000. That's a little bit lower than the market's done, but not far off, probably around $600,000-700,000. But for argument's sake and example's sake, let's say $500,000. So again, you would have up to 80% of that $1 million or up to $800,000 that the bank would lend you. So from $500,000 to $800,000, there's $300,000 sitting there in equity that the bank would lend you right there, right? So it's as simple as refinancing. Yes, your mortgage payment will go up. You have to make sure you're comfortable with that $800,000 mortgage payment. And some people aren't. Some people are saying, you know what, we need that $500,000 mortgage payment in order for us to live with our jobs, and that's fine. That could be a restriction or a reason why you can invest in real estate. And listen, there is a lot of reasons or ways that you can, but you have to be comfortable with that new mortgage payment at that $800,000. Again, interest rates are at a record low now. So in some cases, if you bought your home 3 years ago, your interest rate might have been higher. You might be able to get a lower interest rate, which actually would reduce your payment amount, right? And still give you access to $300,000. So if that's the case, talk to your banker, talk to your mortgage broker, go that route. That route is what I would say is if you're 100% convinced to invest in real estate, because once you refinance and you start paying that mortgage, you're going to get a check for $300,000, and that's going to be sitting in your account until you put it into something. So if you're 100% sure you want to invest in real estate, refinance, take out that money. Hopefully you don't have a penalty on the remaining term. I was speaking to someone last night who's in a 1.88 5-year fixed rate and they're in year 1. And for them, it just doesn't make sense. That's such a good interest rate. They got 4 more years locked in. Don't have to worry about it. So we said, okay, let's look at another option. Option 2, a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. So this is a line of credit that the bank essentially says, yes, your home's worth $1 million. You owe $500,000 mortgage on it. We will loan you money in the form of a line of credit, essentially a glorified credit card that you would get with X amount of funds. Now, the limitation to the line of credit or the home equity line of credit is they will typically only give you up to 65% loan to value. So again, $1 million home, you have $500,000 worth of debt. So that means they're only going to give you up to $650,000. Not $800,000 like that complete refinance. A little bit more conservative with that because this is an open loan, right? You can repay it off. This is the advantages of it. You borrow against it, you pay it off when you want. You can even pay interest only on lines of credit, which is very appealing to investors. The HELOC can be a great option. Again, you still have $150,000 for you to now go say, listen, let's go put this down on a property. That cash flows, that makes enough money to pay off the mortgage on that investment property as well as your HELOC, right? So that you are essentially making money out of everyone else. You're using other people's money, as they say, OPM, right? You're using the bank's mortgage and your own line of credit and paying interest on that. This one's a little bit more conservative, right? So if you're sitting there saying, I'm not sure if the right investment came up, I could pull the trigger on it. I could have access to funds. I've also used this for people to lend money, right? So they get their line of credit, say $150,000, like we're using this example, and they lend it to somebody at 8%. So they're paying, let's say, 3% on that line of credit. They are getting 8% back, so they make a 5% spread simply for doing nothing but lending money. Is there risk there? Of course. There's always risk in making money. So that's option 2. Option 3 would be a second mortgage. Okay, so you have your primary mortgage. Going back to that example of $1 million, you owe $500,000. You could go to a private lender or a B lender, or even friends and family, to be honest, and say, listen, would you lend me $300,000? I'd still be at 80% loan to value ratio, meaning that there's lots of equity still in my home in case there's a market correction or in case things come up, and they will loan you $300,000. You would go to a lawyer, they would put that loan in second position. So you'd have your first position mortgage of $500,000, your second position mortgage of say $300,000, and again, you have access to $300,000 to go invest and buy an investment property. So it is possible, it can be done. The question is will you take the chance? Will you take the leap? You're going to hear a lot of naysayers about that's leveraging yourself too high or that's too risky. But in my mind, again, if you run the numbers, if the property cash flows, if that money is going to make you money, you're just sitting there in your home doing nothing. There's lots of people with lots of equity that they can pull out and use towards investing in real estate. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions on those 3 options, please shoot me a message. Drop a comment below. I'll happily answer it. And again, like and subscribe to the video. I appreciate it. Have a good day.